On this day 1607, 80 Years' War, the Dutch fleet destroys the anchored Spanish fleet at Gibraltar.
On this day 1864, American Civil War, the Battle of Marks Mills.
On this day 1707, the coalition of Britain, the Netherlands and Portugal is defeated by a Franco-Spanish army at Almansa, Spain, in the War of the Spanish Succession.
On this day 1846, Thornton Affair, open conflict begins over the disputed border of Texas, triggering the Mexican-American War.
On this day 1898, Spanish-American War, the United States declares war on Spain.
Was trending on this day 1901, New York becomes the first U.S. state to require automobile license plates.
On this day 1915, World War I, the Battle of Gallipoli begins, the invasion of the Turkish Gallipoli Peninsula by British, French, Indian, Newfoundland, Australian and New Zealand troops, begins with landings at Anzac Cove and Cape Hells.
On this day 1940, Merkid, the flag of the Faroe Islands, is approved by the British occupation government.
On this day 1945, Elbe Day, United States and Soviet troops meet in Torgau along the River Elbe, cutting the Wehrmacht of Nazi Germany in two.
On this day 1945, Liberation Day, Italy, the Nazi occupation army surrenders and leaves northern Italy after a general partisan insurrection by the Italian resistance movement. The puppet fascist regime dissolves, and Benito Mussolini is captured after trying to escape. This day was set as a public holiday to celebrate the liberation of Italy.
On this day 1945, the last German troops retreat from Finland's soil in Lapland, ending the Lapland War. Military acts of Second World War end in Finland.
On this day 1953, Francis Crick and James Watson publish Molecular Structure of Nucleic Acids, a structure for deoxyribose nucleic acid, describing the double helix structure of DNA.
On this day 1972, Vietnam War, Nguyen Hue Offensive, the North Vietnamese 320th Division forces 5,000 South Vietnamese troops to retreat and traps about 2,500 others northwest of Con Tum.
On this day 1981, more than 100 workers are exposed to radiation during repairs of at Mitsurugi nuclear power plant in Japan.
On this day 1983, Cold War, American schoolgirl Samantha Smith is invited to visit the Soviet Union by its leader Yuri Andropov after he read her letter in which she expressed fears about nuclear war.
On this day 1983, Pioneer 10 travels beyond Pluto's orbit.
Was trending on this day 1986, Mzwadi III is crowned King of Swaziland, succeeding his father Sivosa II.
On this day 1990, Violeta Chamorro takes office as the president of Nicaragua, the first woman to hold the position.
On this day 2001, Michelle Alboreto is killed while testing a naughty R8 at the Lausitzring in Germany.
Michelle Alboreto, the 23rd of December 1956 – the 25th of April 2001, was an Italian racing driver. He was runner-up to Alain Prost in the 1985 Formula One World Championship, as well as winning the 1997 24 Hours of Le Mans and 2001 12 Hours of Sebring sports car races. Alboreto competed in Formula One from 1981 until 1994, racing for a number of teams, including 5 seasons 1984 to 88 for Ferrari. The Italian's career in motorsport began in 1976, racing a car he and a number of his friends had built in the Formula Monza series. The car, however, achieved very little success, and 2 years later Alboreto moved up to Formula 3. Wins in the Italian Formula 3 Championship and the European Formula 3 Championship crown in 1980 paved the way for the Italians' entrance into Formula One with the Tyrrell team. 2 wins, the first in the final round of the 1982 season in Las Vegas, and the second a year later in Detroit, earned him a place with the Ferrari team. Alboreto took 3 wins for the Italian team and challenged Alain Prost for the 1985 championship, eventually losing out by 20 points. The following 3 seasons were less successful, however, and at the end of the 1988 campaign, the Italian left Ferrari and re-signed with his former employers Tyrrell, where he stayed until joining Larousse midway through 1989. Further seasons with Footwork, Scuderia Italia and Minardi followed during the tail end of his F1 career. In 1995, Alboreto moved on to sports cars and a year later the American IndyCar Series. He took his final major victories, the 1997 Le Mans 24 Hours and 2001 Sebring 12 Hours, with German manufacturers Porsche and Audi respectively. In 2001, a month after his Sebring victory, he was killed testing an Audi R8 at the Lausitzring in Germany. In April 2001, Alboreto was performing straight-line speed tests in an Audi R8 at the Lausitzring, near Dresden, Germany. A tire blowout caused his car to veer off track and crash into a wall, killing him. 11. At the time, Audi gave no reason for his death, citing that the R8 had already completed thousands of test kilometers on numerous circuits without any problems. 12. Alboreto's death brought much anguish among his family and friends. Michelle's cousin Marissa told Italian news agency ANSA, "You can't imagine what we're going through as a family. We're really distraught." 12. Fellow Italian Giancarlo Fisichella dedicated his podium finish at the 2005 Italian Grand Prix to Alboreto. "I know Alboreto was the last Italian on the podium at Monza before me. I was lucky enough to race together with him in touring cars, and he was a great person, really special. I want to dedicate the result to his memory."
Somali pirates hijacked Germany's MV Patriot and released a Greek ship. Was trending on this day 2005. The final piece of the obelisk of Axum is returned to Ethiopia after being stolen by the invading Italian army in 1937. On this day 2007, Boris Yeltsin's funeral, the first to be sanctioned by the Russian Orthodox Church for a head of state since the funeral of Emperor Alexander III in 1894.
On this day 2009, University of Georgia, Professor George Zinkan allegedly kills 3 people in Athens, Georgia, United States.
Heinz Fischer wins the Austrian presidential election. On this day 2010.
On this day 2010, nearly 100,000 people rally in Okinawa, Japan, demanding the removal of an American base from the island.
2010. On this day, thousands of people rally in Beirut to ask for the separation of religion and state in Lebanon.
2010. On this day, a huge fire destroys hundreds of homes and leaves thousands homeless in Quezon City, Philippines.
2010. On this day, Pope Benedict XVI and his upcoming visit to Britain. The British Foreign and Commonwealth Office apologizes after the Sunday Telegraph obtains a foolish document calling for the upcoming September visit of Pope Benedict XVI to be marked by the launch of Benedict-branded condoms, the opening of an abortion clinic, and the blessing of a same-sex marriage. The Vatican downplays the incident and says it will continue to visit despite the diplomatic gaffe.
On this day 2010, the Spanish Navy captures 8 suspected pirates off the Somalia coast.
2010. On this day, the United Kingdom Professional Footballers Association votes Wayne Rooney as Player of the Year.
On this day 2011, WikiLeaks releases classified cables detailing the interrogations carried out by the United States at the Guantanamo Bay detention camp, as well as the imprisonment in the camp of Afghans and Pakistanis, children, elderly and mentally ill, before later being released without charge.
2011. On this day, Libyan civil war. NATO jets fly over Tripoli on their mission to destroy Muammar Gaddafi's forces as loud explosions knock 3 television stations, Libyan Television, Jamahiriya TV and Shababaya, off the air. At least 45 people are wounded, with others missing, following a strike by warplanes on Muammar Gaddafi's Tripoli compound as NATO conducted the raid. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov calls for an immediate ceasefire.
On this day 2011, Syrian protests, an operation by security and military forces takes place in the city of Daraa. Protesters claim that at least 25 people have been killed in the Daraa crackdown with the Jordanian border closed.
2011. On this day, at least 17 people are killed and at least 24 others are injured as a 4-story building goes up in flames in Daxing, a suburb of Beijing.
Was trending on this day, 2011, a human cannonball performer is killed in public in Kent, England, UK. On this day 2011, in Boston Marathon bombings, Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, claims that the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation briefed him that suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev said that the bombers intended to attack New York City next.
On this day 2013, a gunman kills 3 people with a Kalashnikov rifle in a shooting attack in Istres, France. On this day 2013, Mexican photojournalist Daniel Alejandro Martinez Bazaldu is found dead in Saltillo, Coahuila, an area where Los Zetas drug cartel operates. With his death, Mexico consolidates itself as one of the most dangerous countries for journalists, where more than 80 have been killed since 2000.
A stampede ensues in Kikwit, Democratic Republic of the Congo, during a tribute festival for King Kester Emenya, killing 23 people.
2015 on this day, nearly 9,100 are killed after a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake strikes Nepal.
2016 on this day, Juventus win Italy's Association Football Championship for the 5th consecutive time.
Was trending on this day. 2018 an oil well catches fire in Rondo Puruluk, East Aceh Regency, Indonesia, killing 10 people.
On this day 2018 terrorism in Germany, Nshu trial, Nshu murders. The terror trial of Beat Sapp hears closing arguments in Germany. In addition to a series of murders, Sapp stands accused of bombings and bank robberies.
Was trending on this day. 2018, the European Space Agency releases the largest ever 3D map of stars in our galaxy from the Gaia spacecraft.
Anniversaries.
Today is the anniversary of the first cabinet of Kurdish government, Iraqi Kurdistan.
Anzac Day, Australia, New Zealand.
Anzac Day /Anzac/ is a national day of remembrance in Australia and New Zealand that broadly commemorates all Australians and New Zealanders who served and died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations, and the contribution and suffering of all those who have served. 2. Observed on the 25th of April each year, Anzac Day was originally devised to honor the members of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps Anzac who served in the Gallipoli Campaign, their first engagement in the Great War, 1914 to 1918.
Arbor Day, Germany.
Arbor Day, Germany.
National DNA Day is a holiday celebrated on April 25th. It commemorates the day in 1953 when James Watson, Francis Crick, Maurice Wilkins, Rosalind Franklin and colleagues published papers in the journal Nature on the structure of DNA. Furthermore, on that day in 2003 it was declared that the Human Genome Project was very close to complete, and the remaining tiny gaps we reconsidered too costly to fill. In the United States, DNA Day was first celebrated on April 25, 2003 by proclamation of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. However, they only declared a one-time celebration, not an annual holiday. Every year from 2003 onward, annual DNA Day celebrations have been organized by the National Human Genome Research Institute, NHGRI, starting as early as April 23 in 2010, April 15 in 2011, and April 20 in 2012. April 25 has since been declared International DNA Day and World DNA Day by several groups.
Flag Day, Faroe Islands. Flag Day, Swaziland. Freedom Day, Portugal. Liberation Day, Italy. Liberation Day, South Georgia. Military Foundation Day, North Korea. Parental Alienation Awareness Day, Red Hat Society Day, Sinai Liberation Day, Egypt.
World Malaria Day.
1946 Talia Shire, American actress. 1946 Peter Sutherland, Irish lawyer and politician, Attorney General of Ireland. 1946 Vladimir Zhirinovsky, Russian colonel, lawyer, and politician. 1947 Jeffrey DeMune, American actor. 1948 Mike Selvey, English cricketer and sportscaster. 1948 Yu Xikun, Taiwanese politician, 39th Premier of the Republic of China. 1949 Vicente Pernia, Argentinian footballer and race car driver. 1949 Dominique Strauss-Kahn, French economist, lawyer, and politician, French Minister of Finance. 1950 Donald Dini, Northern Irish lawyer and judge. 1950 Steve Ferroni, English drummer. 1950 Peter Hintz, German Poli.
1986 Claudia Rath, German heptathlete. 1987 Razak Boukari, Togolese footballer. 1987 Jay Park, American South Korean singer-songwriter and dancer. 1987 Johan Smith, American soccer player. 1988 James Shepard, Canadian ice hockey player. 1989 Marie-Michelle Gagnon, Canadian skier. 1989 Shanchoki Nyima, the 11th Panchen Lama, one of the highest-ranking spiritual leaders in Tibet. 1990 Jean-Éric Vergne, French race car driver. 1990 Taylor Walker, Australian footballer. 1991 Alex Shibutani, American ice dancer. 1993 Alex Bowman, American race car driver. 1993 Eniel Norris, American baseball player. 1995 Lewis Baker, English footballer.
2006 Jane Jacobs, American-Canadian journalist, author, and activist. 2007 Alan Ball Jr., English footballer and manager. 2007 Arthur Milton, English footballer and cricketer. 2007 Bobby Pickett, American singer-songwriter. 2008 Humphrey Lyttelton, English trumpet player, composer, and radio host. 2009 B. Arthur, American actress and singer. 2010 Dorothy Provini, American actress and singer. 2010 Alan Salito, English novelist, short story writer, essayist, and poet. 2011 Polystyrene, British musician. 2012 Jerry Bahan, Australian footballer. 2012 Charles G. Hall, American photographer. Rest in peace.
2013 György Baranczy, Hungarian virologist and academic. 2013 Rick Camp, American baseball player. 2014 Dan Heap, Canadian priest and politician. 2014 William Judson Holloway Jr., American soldier, lawyer, and judge. 2014 Earl Mulrall, American football player and coach. 2014 Tito Villanova, Spanish footballer and manager. 2014 Stephanie Zweig, German journalist and author. 2015 Jim Fanning, American-Canadian baseball player and manager. 2015 Matthias Kuhl, German geographer and academic. 2015 Don Mankiewicz, American screenwriter and novelist. 2015 Mike Phillips, American basketball